Will reducing the number of calories we eat help us live longer, or will it shorten our lifespan? In this video, we're going to explore the science behind calorie restriction and what the research has found so far. And let's jump straight into it. We will also discuss some of the benefits and risks associated with reducing the number of calories that we consume, and whether or not it's something that you should consider doing yourself. It works by creating a calorie deficit where you consume fewer calories than your body needs. He noticed that monkeys who were on a restricted diet lived significantly longer than their unrestricted counterparts. Well, one of the main theories is that by reducing the number of calories that you consume, you place your body under a bit of stress. Stress activates various cellular processes that help to protect against cellular damage and promote longevity. For example, calorie restriction activates a process called autophagy, which helps to clear out damaged proteins and other cellular debris. As I mentioned earlier, calorie restriction can lead to nutrient deficiencies and muscle loss if not done correctly. The potential benefits in terms of weight loss and lifespan are enticing, but it's important to weigh them against the potential risks and drawbacks. If you do decide to try calorie restriction, it's important to do it correctly and under the guidance of a healthcare professional. Don't try to reduce the number of calories that you consume below 1,200 per day unless you've been cleared to do so by a doctor. And be sure to include plenty of fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains in your diet. Monitor your body's hunger and fullness cues and stop eating when you're full. Be patient and consistent. It takes time to change your eating habits and reach your goals, but it's important to do it safely and effectively. If you haven't already, please subscribe to stay up to date on all of my latest content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Working with a registered dietitian or a certified personal trainer can help you create a calorie deficit that is appropriate for your individual needs. However, calorie restriction may not be a good option for everyone, particularly those with a history of eating disorders or other mental health conditions. It's also not a good idea to reduce the number of calories that you consume too aggressively, as this can lead to nutrient deficiencies and other health problems. It's because when you reduce the number of calories that you consume, you may not be getting enough of the vitamins, minerals, and protein that you need to maintain healthy body function. Additionally, reducing the number of calories that you consume too aggressively can lead to fatigue, irritability, and other mood changes. This is because calorie restriction puts your body through a form of stress that can disrupt hormone levels and neurotransmitter function. Finally, as I mentioned before, calorie restriction can be difficult to maintain long-term. And many people end up overestimating the number of calories that they burn and underestimating the number of calories that they consume. This can lead to frustration and unhealthy behaviors such as binge eating. This can help you avoid overeating or emotional eating, which can sabotage your weight loss goals. Of course, it's important to note that everyone is different, and what works for one person may not work for another. Some people may benefit from tracking their calories or macronutrients, while others may prefer a more intuitive approach. Ultimately, the best way to reduce the number of calories that you consume is the way that you can stick to long-term. This process is important for maintaining healthy cells and preventing diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. By reducing mTOR signaling, calorie restriction can help to prevent the growth of abnormal cells and potentially reduce the risk of cancer. Additionally, calorie restriction has been shown to reduce inflammation throughout the body, which is a contributing factor in many chronic diseases, and a 45% increase in median lifespan compared to control monkeys. Additionally, there are potential risks associated with reducing the number of calories that you consume, which are high in calories but low in nutrients. By replacing these foods with whole, unprocessed foods such as fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains, you can create a calorie deficit without sacrificing essential nutrients. Intermittent fasting is another approach that can help you reduce the number of calories that you consume without restricting the types of food that you eat. There are different ways to do intermittent fasting, but one popular approach is to eat only during a 6-hour window each day and fast for the remaining 18 hours. This can help to reduce the number of calories that you consume, without having to count calories or restrict certain foods. For example, if you don't do it correctly, calorie restriction can lead to nutrient deficiencies, muscle loss, and other health problems. It's also worth noting that the majority of people who try to follow a calorie-restricted diet end up overestimating the number of calories that they burn and underestimating the number of calories that they consume. This makes it difficult to create a meaningful calorie deficit and can lead to frustration and unhealthy behaviors such as binge eating. Another study published in 2017 found that calorie restriction without malnutrition increased the lifespan of a small group of baboons by 25%. Now, these studies are very promising, but they were conducted on animals, and it's not always easy to translate these findings to humans. Nevertheless, the evidence is pretty strong that calorie restriction can have a significant impact on lifespan and health span, which is the length of time that a person lives in good health. 1987. These studies have examined the effects of calorie restriction on a variety of animals. The results have been very promising and show that calorie restriction can significantly extend lifespan in a wide range of species, which forces your body to tap into its fat stores for energy instead of using up its glycogen stores, which are much more limited. By doing this, you can lose weight, improve your insulin sensitivity, and reduce your risk of chronic diseases such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and certain cancers. So stay tuned. I am a medical doctor and health educator. This video is made possible by viewers like you who support my work. Please subscribe if you find my content helpful. Calorie restriction is a diet that involves reducing the number of calories that you consume in order to lose weight, improve your health, or extend your lifespan. The idea that eating less can actually help you live longer was first proposed by biogerontologist Roy Walford back in the early 1980s. For example, one study published in 2003 found that calorie-restricted rhesus monkeys had a 30% reduced risk of developing age-related diseases. But how exactly does calorie restriction work, and why does it seem to have these amazing anti-aging effects? Now, while these are all potential benefits of calorie restriction, it's important to note that most of the research has been conducted on animals, and it may not necessarily apply to humans. Despite these challenges, there are still ways to make calorie restriction more effective and safer. Another approach to reducing the number of calories that you consume is to pay attention to your body's hunger and fullness cues. So let's talk about some of the potential downsides of calorie restriction. So now let's discuss who might benefit from calorie restriction and who might not. Overall, the decision of whether or not to restrict calories is a personal one. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends.